All right, rock and roll. Welcome one, welcome all to the Scorched Earth Political Podcast. I am your host, John. And if you could kindly hit that like and subscribe button, it means a lot to us. Hope you had a really good weekend. Let's get to it. Let's burn it all to the effing ground. And No Kings Weekend. An amazing celebration of anywhere between 5 and 8 million Americans, patriotic Americans, taking to the streets and trying to fight for our freedom, trying to fight for our Bill of Rights, trying to fight for our democracy in the formidable wake of the authoritarian Donald Trump, trying to basically make this a monarchy, to make this a one-party state, and to eliminate eventually all our freedoms in guise of the king. I went to a rally, and I'm going to talk about two things that nobody else is going to talk about at all in the podcast world. And that's why you're here at Scorched Earth. That it was an amazing success, and we are building. The ones in June, the ones in July were somewhere around 3 to 5 million. Now we're looking at 5 to 8 million. The movement is growing. And I did not see this at the one I went to in Claremont, California, but I heard many reports of pro-Trump supporters going to the rallies and standing there saying with a sign, "I support President Trump," things like that, which is their First Amendment right. And they were left alone. People just said, "Hey, okay, do you." I wonder, and I am not afraid of too much, but if you told me I had to take a sign and go to a MAGA rally and say, "I support Joe Biden," I'd be scared. I'd have the bejesus scared out of me. Absolutely unequivocally would. And the thought as I was at the rally was, are we too nice? Now, I love the way we are. We make it a fight for freedom, but it's also a jovial, welcoming atmosphere. Democrats, excuse me, do protest much better than Republicans do. But I wonder at the end of the day, can we win because we're too nice? We do No Kings, they do January 6th. And I'm not advocating that we should change, but sometimes if you get into a fight and they play dirty all the time, eventually the dirtiness is going to win out. And I really have been pondering this the entire weekend about, do we just need to be more mother effers? Do we need to be more ridiculous? Do we need to be more evil? I don't think we can, because it isn't who and what we are and what we epitomize. But I wonder if that is going to be a fatal flaw. You know, they keep chipping away, and then we pull some back, and then they chip and chip and chip. Because Donald Trump is not an outlier. He is emblematic of what is going on in the Republican Party. They want to take away our rights. They want to take away our freedoms. They want to gerrymandering their party into a one-party system where the Democrats have no chance of ever achieving power again. The second thing I'm thinking about, and nobody is talking about this, is, okay, we had the rallies in June, and we had huge numbers. These numbers are even better 3 months later, right? Think about where we're going to be in 12 months. Now, I don't know what the organizers are doing. I used to be involved with MoveOn.org. I was actually, a little funny story. I was at a MoveOn.org party in 2016 when Hillary was going to be elected president. And I was over there. There's about 8 of us. And she's taking a lead. She's even fighting for Texas. She's doing great. Man, we're clanging the champagne glasses. We're getting ready. And then as the night wears on, it starts to go, whoa, we might lose Michigan. Ooh, huh. What's going on up there in Wisconsin? Oh, holy heck, what, Pennsylvania? And then by the end of the night, You know, it was like a 12-step meeting. We were all sober. It was like, oh no, what just happened? And, you know, it was just one of those things. And I wonder where we are going to be in 12 months. And what I'm saying is the organizers are doing such a great job here that we're probably going to have another one in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. Where does that put us? Where does that put us? That puts us, obviously, John, there's 12 months in the calendar. It puts us next October. Thank you very much for answering. But what it really does is it puts us at rallies right before next November's election. And I am telling you right now, I'm the only person telling you that is what the Republicans are scared of. They're not really scared of this. They're hoping it'll dissipate. They're hoping it will fade away. The No Kings thing, it's not. But what they're really scared is activating the voter base next October when it is on the verge of the election. Kamala Harris, who ran truly one of the greatest political campaigns I've ever seen, even though she lost, the night before the election, she held a huge rally in Washington, D.C., where she spoke to the voters. I thought it was brilliant. It obviously didn't work. Just because you don't win doesn't mean you didn't run a great campaign. That lady ran a great campaign. And the power we have, we're building it. Make no mistake. But the real power is going to come next October, right before that election. And I am telling you right now, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, they are going to try and infiltrate these peaceful rallies and starting to try to get violence there. You are going to see Donald Trump lose his stuff. We already know he does, right? That's the way this guy is. Now, let's cut to the chase here. He actually had a AI video that he put out on his social media. Now watch this disgusting video by the President of the United States. Now right there we have King Trump in a fighter plane, and he is dumping feces, excrement, on a big city. Let's call it New York, whatever we're going to call it. Look at how disgusting that is. That guy actually put that on his social media feed, basically essing on American protesters, American citizens, American patriots, and he thought that was funny. Yeah, funny, not funny. That was the President of the United States. My producer sent that to me, and I was aghast. You know, we live in a world where there is so much going on that we don't know what's real and what's not. That was real. I checked it out. It was insane. Let's go over some of the highlights of the No Kings Day. 7 million, like I talked about, 7 to 8 million people attended, 2,700 rallies across America. Speaker Mike Johnson actually doubled the RSVPs. You don't need to have an RSVP to go to a rally, but they like to have it just so they get an idea of the numbers of people attending. Mike Johnson said it was the I Hate America rally. Carolyn Leavitt, the White House press secretary, called it, the Democrats are pro-Hamas, illegal aliens, and criminals. That is their constituency. 2 words for you, and they start with F you. You know, anybody who doesn't agree with the king obviously has to be one of those 3, right? Tom Emmen of Minnesota, the Republican representative, said that this caters to the terrorist wing of the Democratic Party. First of all, there is no terrorist wing. Antifa doesn't exist. Name me one person from Antifa. Show me some money from Antifa. I could show you a lot of that with the Proud Boys on January 6th. Seems like we had a lot of things there. Nobody investigated, and you know what? I'm going to hold Joe Biden's feet to the fire on that one. He should have had actually an attorney general who was actually going to do something, do his effing job, instead of just sitting around there with his thumb up his butt for 3 years and let him get away with holy hell. Oh, we're going to wait till the January 6th commission in the House this done. Yeah, right. You're the DOJ. You literally got 5,000 lawyers. Get on it. Too late. They got away with that one. You know, sometimes the criminal gets away. It is what it is. All right. I hope you had a good time at the No Kings. Drop a comment. I always love to hear what you got to say. Let's talk about the next thing in the news, and that will be the historic Hamas agreement. A week ago today, Donald Trump was banging his chest with his ketchup-stained fingers from McDonald's, saying, no more war in the Middle East. We are done. Maybe not so fast there, Chuck. Maybe not so fast. Seems like on Sunday, Israel had enough of this peace deal, and they struck back at Hamas. Now, preliminary reports are that Hamas launched missiles over what is called the Yellow Line. Basically, you had Gaza City. Israel retreated to their military positions that they had in August. That's the Yellow Line around the city. Hamas launched, I believe, gunfire, a couple missiles. It's not like they have many. Into that area, and Israel just waiting, just itching for the fight, came back hard. Launched many missile strikes into Gaza City, gunfire, everything else. Israel's National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, said on X, now wait for it, Israel also, excuse me, I missed something here, they stopped all humanitarian aid going to these starving Palestinian people. Yeah. Because once we start the gunfire, we got to stop the aid too. Because Lordy knows, giving them 4 days of aid, that was way too much. Yeah. They are avenging people, those Israelis. Itamar Ben-Gvir, who is the actual national security advisor for Israel. So this is a man of incredible importance, said aid should not be resumed. The war should, and as soon as possible. Wow. Wow. Peace deal on life support. You know, they want to give themselves the Nobel Peace Prize. They want to pat each other on the back. As we've learned in history, especially with people like that cretin, Bernie Madoff, something's only as good as the piece of paper. A piece of paper is just a piece of paper. It has to be backed up by somebody's word. Hamas, what is their incentive on any level to give up their guns? The part of the peace deal is they're not supposed to be part of the new government. Now, we don't know who the new government is. The Palestinian people had no say in it. Everybody else did. Qatar, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Israel, the United States. Hell, maybe the butcher down the street from me. He might have had a bigger say than the Palestinian people. They're too busy trying to find scraps in the rubble to eat. Okay, can we eat concrete tonight? Not again. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It is despicable, and it is reprehensible, and Israel is just waiting to get the fight back on. Because like we've talked about, and we all know, the second that war really officially ends, Benjamin Netanyahu goes up on corruption charges. The only get-out-of-jail-free card he has is that war will continue. The longer it goes, the longer he stays out of jail. That $207,000 cigar-chomping, champagne-swigging prime minister. That guy, the guy who got up on the corruption. And honestly, Donald Trump looks at him and goes, man, $207,000, you're going to go to jail for that? I'm doing billions in crypto, and I'm not going anywhere because my Supreme Court says I can't do anything illegal. I can't go to jail. Wow. Corruption breeds corruption, doesn't it? John Roberts, I hope you can look yourself in the mirror. Chief Justice, my butt. Corrupt son of a gun. That's all. I try not to cuss for the first 10 minutes if you're new to Scorched Earth. Damn algorithm. All right, let's talk about the other story that's going on is we have the third week of the government shutdown, and the Republicans seem to have the Republican government shutdown. The Republicans seem to have no incentive to end it. Okay? They don't care. Keep going. Donald Trump, Sunday, Govt, as Israel and Hamas started fighting again. If you remember, when he had the historic 38-day shutdown in his first administration, one of the things that really irked him is he couldn't go out and play golf because the optics were too bad. You could tell this is somebody who theoretically cannot run for re-election because he doesn't give a damn now. He is out there golfing. Definitely not walking. He's on the cart. He's got his caddy throwing his ball in the middle of the fairway when it actually goes in the water or the woods or wherever. Found it again, Mr. President. Another birdie, buddy. Yeah. How to make an 8 into a 3. Look at Donald Trump's scorecard. But as we have a government shutdown and we are cutting essential things, air traffic controllers, they are not getting paid. They are told they have to work. Donald Trump has said we may not pay you when you come back for the time you did put in when the government was shut down. WIC, women, infants, children, where they get medical and food assistance. SNAP, which goes to the most vulnerable people in our society, their program has run out of money. What hasn't run out of money? Donald Trump being able to have a rally in Annapolis, political rally. Seems we got plenty of money for that. Seems like he's got money. I just saw a commercial the other day for ICE. They're giving bonuses, paying college tuition, and they're giving you an amazing salary, and they are continuing to pay you. What they also are paying for is 2 jets for Kristi Noem. They will run $200 million. They are the G700, the best of the best, because her old jets just don't have the cachet. You know, maybe Qatar could have gave her a couple. I don't know. The question I have is, and I really do think there is something crazy going on here, is the government is basically, I'm not going to say it's transparent, but you have an idea, right? Like, they don't tell you what they do with the CIA budget. They don't always tell you what they do with the FBI. But I know they have a budget. We have a government shutdown. It basically means we ran out of money. We ran out of money. There is some discretionary money that they can allocate for things, but it's all up to the purview of Congress. It's supposed to be to Congress and the president. Well, Congress stepped aside the first day that Donald Trump came into office. Now, where is this money coming from? Where's the money for ICE? He also said he's going to start paying the military. He's not going to skip it. They got their last payment. I believe this week they're supposed to get their next payment. He said they're not going to miss a beat. We're going to keep paying them. Where is this money? Where is this slush fund? Is it the tariff money? What is going on there? There's something really dark here, and I don't think we're ever going to get to know the answer. Like, are they just taking it out of the military budget? There is no more money. But somehow there's this vault of money. He just reaches his hand in and says, hey, thanks. I'm going to take that. How do you come up with $200 million for Kristi Noem's personal jet service? Next thing you know, we're going to throw in the Botox and, you know, the concierge cosmetic surgery. I am fascinated where this money is coming from. And we have a budgetary process where if you've ever seen the budget for the United States, it literally kills 4 trees to be able to print all that it is. And they have every department. Look, there is discretionary spending inside departments. Like they give the Department of basically what happens is the Department of Education says, hey, we need hypothetically $2 billion. Here's all the programs we want to fund, and it adds up to $2 billion. And then they say, okay, we're only going to give you 1/8. They come back, they reconfigure their thing, and they do their thing. Where there is no more money. Where are they getting this money? And where is this fund for the tariffs? You know, Scott Bessent is out there claiming that they've got $100 billion in tariff money. Where is that money? Is this just some Republican slush fund? So if the Democrats get in, we could just take $100 billion and go, you know what? We're not going to really fund the military, but you know that Medicare for all, we're down with that. Can you imagine what Fox News, OAN, Newsmax would do over that? You literally, it would be like the movie Scanners. Their heads would explode on camera. It is dark, and I don't understand where this money is coming from. And believe me, I went down the rabbit hole here. I've spent hours trying to figure out where are they pulling this money out of, and nobody seems to know. And I understand when you see most podcasts, it's the elites, it's the people in Washington. I'm not in Washington, I'm in California. But I'm reading 60 articles a day, and I don't have a clue where this money is coming from. But it sure as hell is coming from, because make no mistake, it ain't coming out of Donald Trump's pocket. He stuffs it in there. It does not come out. You know, he's like the friend who goes takes you out to dinner. He's got alligator arms when the check comes. That's Donald Trump. Evil SOB. That's all I got to say. All right. We got one more story. We're going to give you a little bonus here. So on Sunday, Defense Secretary Pig Hegseth, and I love saying pig because he is a pig on a pig, and he announced the 7th military strike on a boat coming out of Venezuela, in Venezuelan waters, making its way into the international waters of the Caribbean. But we also got a little snippet from Donald Trump that Thursday, when they hit, they did a military strike on that, what he called a narco-carrying sub. 4 people were in the sub. 2 died, 2 made it. They were scooped up by United States warships, were held by the United States military, and then, wait for it, they were released back to their countries. Now, help me out with this one, because I'm not doing well on this Final Jeopardy question, Alex. You have people that you're accusing of running drugs. You blow up their boat, and then some of them survive, and then you release them back to their country. Let me tell you how it used to be. We have military, we have Coast Guard, we have DEA out there in the Caribbean looking for basically a set of Miami Vice. Drug running boats trying to make it into the United States, planes, things like that. What they would do is they would intercept them, they would confiscate the drugs, they would arrest them, and then they would take them to the United States, give them due process, and have a court trial. That is the way we have done it for the last 40 years. When Ronald Reagan really started the war on drugs. Now, my question is, if these people are guilty, and we all know the Pentagon, the White House has not given us any exculpatory evidence that they actually had drugs on these boats. All we get is a little, night vision of the missile going into the boat. That's all we get. And really, at the end, I think they just get off on killing people. I don't think this has anything to do with drug enforcement. They put out this thing, there was enough fentanyl on that boat to kill 200,000 people. The Carolyn Levitt thing, Pam Bondi, at one of the early cabinet meetings where she said, we had so much fentanyl, it could have killed 400 million people. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, right. We're all just getting into line like it's the Jim Jones cult. If they blew up the boat, they don't have evidence that there was drugs on it, they couldn't bring those people into the United States with that evidence and try them in a court of law. This is just like Abrego Garcia. We are going to accuse you. We are not going to give you any proof. And then when finally somebody calls, when the press calls us on it, we're going to give up our hands and say, we messed up. They don't even say they messed up. They just capitulate. because they're weak and ineffective, and they're nothing but a bunch of bullies. Right there. That's what I say to you, Trump administration. In our last 45 years, drug runners, we blow out their motors, we bring them into a court of law, and we try them. They either guilty, innocent, whatever the result is, whatever the verdict is, they either go to jail or we set them free. Now, we actually caught some people, supposedly, with drugs, blew up their boat, and then we released them. Wow. Does that make sense to you? On any level, does that make any sense? Not one bit. Because I'm going to call it what it is. It's bullshit on bullshit. I don't think any of these boats are carrying drugs. I think they're trying to scare South America. They're trying to scare Venezuela. They're trying to scare Ecuador. They're trying to scare Colombia. Show me some receipts. Show me some evidence. No, we're not going to get that. And the MAGA's just going to keep eating it up like a bowl of soup. Yum, 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 yum. Hey, in my world, I like to see a little evidence. And that's why Donald Trump doesn't ever want to go into court, because when there is court, when you actually have to present evidence, you get convicted of 34 financial felonies. Versus when he claims the 2020 election was rigged, he never goes into court. Because you need evidence. Sorry, not sorry. All right. That's it. If you could, please hit that like and subscribe button. It means a lot to us. And feel free to leave a comment. I got some real love this weekend, and I want to thank everybody from the No Kings who's talked about their experiences. It was beautiful. Thank you so much. Please, always feel free to drop a comment. I love them all. We're one party. We're one nation. We're one freedom. All right. We'll see you soon on the Scorched Earth Political Podcast.